Welcome to WO50 Podcast, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
I sure hope we do after over 50 years on the planet. Today we talk about ageless romance. WO50, we dive into the deep end of dating over 50. My name is Corrine and I'm here with my BFF Eddi. And we talked about dating over 50 today.
Yep, not over 50 people, but over the age of 50. Well, you can still date over 50
I probably
people.
dated well over 50.
I probably asked, oh, no, I know. It's a lot of fun. It's just, looking at the vulnerability of it, what we need to change up, where do we go, to meet people and just having fun with it.
Absolutely. Right? Having fun. We talk about Eddi dating before she met her guy. She was dating in her 50s. I am going to be dating in my 60s now that I'm 60 soon, and keep you updated on that. And we hope you enjoy this as much as we enjoyed talking about it. Hello, my BFF.
Hello, Ken. How are you?
Good. I was listening to some of our podcasts today, and remember how when we first started, I was like, Eddi, you got to get the energy up a little bit because you'd be like so mellow in your radio voice. And so I was listening to some of the older ones, and I was like, and sometimes I'm kind of mellow too, and I'm like, no, we have to keep the energy up.
Yeah. Unless we have low energy, which we did have on one podcast, but it worked because it was kind of a low energy podcast.
I think we were talking about death or something like that.
Death and dying, which is it's hard to have like a lot of gung-ho energy with that topic, but it was lovely. It was a lovely talk.
Yeah, yes. that was a lovely talk. Did I ever tell you that when I was in a singing competition, my very first one, when I was like 8 or 7 years old, I was quite young. I just started to take singing lessons. It was my first, and it was an old song like "There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza." It wasn't that one, but it was something like that. Mm-hmm. That the lyrics are crazy in all those old songs. Like they're all like all about the plague or something like that. Some of those old songs from the early 1900s. So, anyways, I was smiling and singing, and my knees were shaking. And I remember the judge said, so, your smile's really beautiful, but when you're singing about somebody dying, you might not want to smile.
It's true.
But the biggest thing I learned, well, that was something I learned. And then, even though I was only like 8 years old, I remember how much my knees were shaking. And I was like, I am never wearing a dress again when I perform. I was sure they could see my knees shaking away.
Aw, so cute. Little knees.
I won first place though.
Did you? Good for you.
I did. It was, I think it's the only first place ribbon I've ever received in my entire life, because I just am not known for winning ribbons.
Yeah, it's funny. I was going through some stuff the other day, and I came across and it was only back in 2016, 17, and I found I had been nominated for an Entrepreneur of the Year award at this Women's, Entrepreneur of the Year here in Newfoundland, Labrador. And I totally forgot about it, and I'm like, well, just being nominated is good. It really is. That was perfect. So I pulled it back into my memory going, okay, now I have to remember that because I've always been nominated for something.
You haven't won either? I don't know. You must have won some ribbons when you were young. You were athletic.
Yeah, probably a few. But it's present moment. I'm definitely in present moment living now. Yeah, I took my granddaughter yesterday to her. She's doing figure skating, and now she's 6 years old. So she's got to go through all the tests, right? So she just put her little skates on like 3 weeks ago. So this was like her third lesson. So I took her over, and there's lots of kids and their little skates, and I put her skates on, and they're little black hockey skates because they're tiny. She's 6.
Yeah, but if
So
she's
they're
taking
not
figure skating, she has to have the
not
little
figure
thing.
skates. No pick yet. See, they have to be in a solid boot.
Oh, okay.
So I put her out on the ice and I'm like, you're good. You're not nervous. And she was, no, no. I tightened up the skates as good, as good as I could because the leather's so stiff. And out she goes. And it was just like a dog through the gate. That was it. She didn't stop. For 40 minutes, she went around and around and her 2 little feet were like, how they bend in and the
Yes,
ankles are
yes,
bend in. And it was
yeah,
like she was going sideways, right?
yeah.
And she's pushing off it. And
I hope you got some
she's
photos.
I did. I'll send you a video. You will laugh. She's so tiny. So I go down. She wants to get rid of her coat now. So she hands out her coat and it's freezing, right? I'm wrapped up. And she hands her coat to me, and the coach comes over to open the gate to hand me the coat. And off she goes again. And I said, so how's she doing? He goes, she's great. He said, if she had skates that actually fit her, it'd be amazing.
That's right, because that's why you got to get one of those tools to pull up because you can't tighten them with those tools that hockey players use. It's like a
Yeah.
little hook. Do you
No,
have
I
one of
just
those?
need No, it doesn't matter. The top of the skate, her little ankle's so skinny. The top of the skate, the laces will only go in so far, right? It's like, and I've got them wrapped, but
Oh,
it's
gosh.
really sweet. And she loves it. She loves it. So we get off the ice and they picked her to do a little ice show. And she said, I'm so excited. I get to wear a costume.
She loves her costumes.
I'm like, okay. Well, we should look at some new skates too, right? But anyway, it was
Up for
cute.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So she was the winner yesterday. She was just I was so delighted that she loves it. So
Yeah.
she's going for the gold, she says. Yeah.
Oh,
So we'll see. Yeah.
that's good. Winter sports. Tis that time of year.
Tis that time, and skating is a great thing to do
Oh,
if
they're
you
gonna,
want to.
they're gonna do
Like
it.
dating and skating after 50.
I guess if you live in Canada, that might be, or New York in the plaza wherever they skate in I don't know where it is in New
Yes,
York.
outside. Yeah,
Yeah,
the big
the big
skating rink.
outdoor skating rink. Yeah. That might be a good idea to meet somebody because that's the thing I find dating over 50. That's our topic today.
Mhm.
You never know it because we've been going on.
Yeah, we've been going on about everything else, but ageless romance,
Right.
the dating, what the hangups are around it, how challenging, the vulnerability you face getting back out there. That's what we're going to talk about today because we've done
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, we've done, and you did it before me because you have a partner now. And
Mhm.
I had a partner and I'm divorced and I have not dated since my divorce. And you had dated, you got divorced. How old were you when you were divorced?
I was 48,
Yeah, so close.
48.
And
Mhm.
you dated, so I
And then I was 53 when Strat and I
yeah.
met. Yeah. So there was 5 years of just yeah, just enjoying trying new things, dating, having fun, traveling, hanging with my girlfriends.
Loneliness.
Well, there was some, right? You're facing it all. There's loneliness, and there's a point you reach where you really um, want a companionship or a relationship. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with taking your time and just waiting for all the right things to match up, you know?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I know for me, I actually, because I was sort of a serial monogamist. My sister said that's not the right term, but I think it is. So to me, the definition of that is I was addicted to 3 and 4 month relationships. And so because that high that you got, right? And so I had a lot of those in my 20s and 30s. And I didn't meet Satya and get married till I was 43. And so, but I definitely was, struggled a lot with loneliness when I was younger. It was really what got me onto the spiritual journey. And my man picker certainly was broken. And so really after my divorce, it was the first time in my life. I mean, I think it was a little bit before I met Satya, it started to happen where I wasn't lonely anymore and I wasn't desperately seeking a relationship. I don't know if I was desperately, but I was definitely always looking, my eyes were always open. Like when I went on a retreat or a seminar or something, I'd look for a spiritual guy, and I now I don't have that thirst, which is so it was such a relief to me after my divorce. There was no loneliness, no thirst, no, it was just a cherishing my alone time, loving my single life, my freedom. Not that I don't love relationship too. And I'm finding myself now after 6 years of being, not 6 years divorced, but I think 6 years being separated, something like that, maybe 5 years since the divorce, something like that. I'm feeling a little more open now to sort of looking, my eyes are starting to feel that energy moving in that direction. So now there's a whole other, you know, insecurities that are starting to come up. So we'll talk about that as well. And so anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. And so I want to talk about where you were at because it was really fun because I was married when you were going through
Oh,
your
yeah, that's
stuff,
right. It's
right?
so
And
funny because when I was getting married the first time, I was 30 and you were having fun.
I was having a
And
difficult
then
time.
and then the tables turned. So, then you were going you were married and I'm having fun, right? And it's really different like that 30 to 50 time. Like a 30-year-old is the dating scene is so different than 50. There's a lot of factors, there's a lot of, I don't know, different reasons, right? We divorce, some of us have to get back exercising again and working on our self-esteem and self-worth, and there's so many things. So yeah, for me, the just I don't know, just having time for myself initially is what I wanted. So, I was doing then some yoga and some retreats when I first was divorced, and then my work was fine. I'm thinking back now as I'm talking, and then it was to travel and have some fun, and then I was started to get asked out on dates, and I said to myself, say yes, unless the person's a serial killer or something. No, nah, not today. I don't think I want to go out with you. But I didn't say yes to everybody. So I would go out on a date, or and there was a couple of relationships in that 5 years of yeah, being single, but nothing ever felt right. Like it wasn't, I don't know, everything didn't line up,
But
you
you
know?
had some fun and you had some,
And I traveled quite a bit.
what's that?
And I traveled quite a bit, went to, to Europe quite a bit and different places in Canada. I took some courses. I took painting classes. I
You were on
learned
the
to play
board.
golf. Oh yeah, I served on two boards. I served on the Music NL board of directors. I was on I was a director on the Newfoundland and Labrador Organization of Women Entrepreneurs here. And I did those for, NLO for 7 years and Music NL for 4. So it was really nice because it was networking, and I got to do lots of things where I wasn't running home to, make sure I was eating with somebody or shopping or taking care of children. I was doing whatever I wanted to do. Yeah. And I had my work, my office and my naturopathic work. So it was great. So I was, dabbling on writing music and writing a book. And those, oh gosh, Corinne, what else did I do?
Well, I want to talk about a little bit about the insecurities though, too, because I know all the things you did, but I want to
Yes.
talk about some of the insecurities. Like, did you ever go on any dating sites or meet anybody like, or was it all meeting somebody in person, or did you contemplate that?
Well, there was lots of there was many different things. One of my friends, she enjoyed the dating sites. I never ever felt comfortable ever going on there. So, yeah, that yeah, don't want to do that. Now, some people have lots of great luck on dating sites and they've met the person of their dreams. And for me, I like meeting somebody face to face. I find that connection is important. But during, COVID and Zoom days now, a lot of people are choosing online and this way of meeting.
Yeah,
Have
my
you?
brother was online dating before it was a thing. It was a dating service.
Yeah.
The dating service back, and this would have been in the 80s, early
Mm.
90s. So well before dating apps and stuff, but there was a dating service because he was a very, very busy professional and didn't have time. And he met a lovely girl that he dated for
Hmm.
like 5 years.
Oh,
And so,
I have a lot of friends who've met their partners that way, and you just go with what you feel. There's that inner guide, I think, helps you a bit.
yeah, and there's always going to be fears that come up with any way you decide. It's like what I tell people is even if you just sign up for a dating site, you're moving and you don't ever meet somebody on the dating site, you're moving the energy in that direction.
Mhm.
So there's techniques that I've helped people with to write out the qualities of the person that you want to meet. I mean, I know you did like a Shakti workshop, I think like 6 months or so before you met Strat.
Mhm. Yeah, I did. That was yeah, I was single then about 5 years, and was interesting because you've worked through a lot of things within yourself, and I had just come back from India on that retreat with you where we did the tour, and which was amazing. And he was just back from Nepal, so he had done base camp Everest, and a friend had introduced us actually. But 2 weeks before she introduced us, we actually happened to see each other, and I was out with a friend, and her and I were sitting there talking, and I looked up and I said, I think he's looking at me. And then he was saying the same thing to his buddy that he was out with, but neither one of us did anything about it. And then about 2 weeks later, this mutual friend, she goes, "Come on, I'm going out and having some friends, and let's get together." And that we met that evening and haven't been apart since. So there was just something, you know, really spiritual or magical, or just there was a connection, and it's hard to explain sometimes.
So, but I want to go back to the Shakti workshop that you did before you met him. Do you think that opened up, like, if nothing else, I think it opened up the energy of you focusing on that, wanting to bring a partner into your life? Is that like, what did it do?
It was really helpful. Yeah, it was. I think it's just sitting with and making a list of what it is that you're open to receiving, whether they're into nature or like music, or you don't want your list to like really like where you can't
Well,
find
you have to be
there's
the
no
partner
fault.
yeah, you have to be the partner to that one. So
That's right.
you've got to create stuff and you can be constantly working on it. So that's
Hmm.
one of the main things is you write down your deal breakers of the things, you write down the things that you really want in somebody that are like number one things, and then you write on your secondary things. Then you write on your deal breakers of what you don't want, but you don't
Hmm.
focus on that. That's like the third thing you do. Then you write down your qualities to make sure that you're the partner to that,
Right.
and if there's any work you have to do, because typically I remember our friend Mike Snyder years ago, when there was all single girls hanging out at House of Bliss when we were all in our 20s and all wanting to have partners, and he said, Corinne, when you're ready, he'll be there. And I used to, and I realized that was really true. Like that's when I met Satya, when I had kind of calmed down with everything and was more relaxed about meeting somebody, and felt more abundant and more relaxed in my own skin, and then I met somebody. And so I feel like that's, it, and with my clients that I work with too, it's like when I really question them, they're like, yeah, I don't know that I really am ready to meet somebody yet. I think I've got a little more work to do. So being honest, so you really sort of did that work, you dated and had fun, and then you really focused on in that workshop. And the Shakti simply is for those people who don't know, Shakti is the feminine aspect of the divine, as according to Hinduism, and
Mm.
uh, and so embodying those qualities of femininity and abundance and vulnerability, and so that workshop was like an online workshop or something like that.
Yeah, it was. It was for there were some modules you had to do, and each week there was homework, and eventually it was you really had to feel into it because it's feeling what it would be like. So if there's panic when you're like, I don't know if I'm ready yet, but if there's, oh wow, if I met this person, because I'm doing all this personal growth work, and even if they're not in the middle of doing personal growth work or barely got their foot in the water, like if there's a lot of qualities there that are really vibing, right? They're there. That person will do their personal growth work. You just got to keep doing yours. So
Yeah.
I had that feeling of, I can feel that I'm ready for a partner, but I don't need to rush it. I'm just ready. And when I'll know it, that was my kind of mantra is I'll know it when it's there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
And
think,
the Shakti energy is more clearing out the old cobwebs and the unworthiness or the thoughts that go through our heads and the things that we do that we won't repeat or it's waking up that the goddess within you and you're the person you hope will see that piece about you that wow, this is a strong individual. Wow, she's got her shit together. What. And whether that you can't force somebody to think that way. They're either going to feel that if it's coming from you, right? It has to,
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I realized that years ago there was this woman that my friends told me that they knew this woman that was dating Dwight Yoakam, right? And she was gonna be the Ace of Clubs with, remember the Ace of Clubs downtown in Nashville,
yeah,
hanging out with the band guys that I was friends with, and this guy, I can't remember her name, and I was like, oh my gosh, she must be amazing because this is when Dwight Yoakam was really really big, and that, the ripped jeans phase started. Everybody started wearing the ripped knees because of him. And
yeah,
so anyways, I go down there, and I see this girl from behind who's got this long, long, chocolatey dark hair, straight hair down to her bum. And she's not very tall. She turns around, and she's very average looking. She's got big, big, big glasses like this, and not attractive, but she's just very plain looking. But she had the most confidence. And within 5 minutes of talking to her, she was gorgeous because she was
yeah,
just so confident in her own skin.
yeah.
And so
It's
there's
beautiful.
nothing, yeah, there's nothing more attractive than confidence and being comfortable in your own skin. That's why it's so important to do that work on yourself.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, that I'm kind of it does run in my family. My great grandmother was with somebody younger. My grandmother was with somebody other younger. My mom was, and I have, Sachi was 10 years younger than I, but I definitely can be attracted, and younger guys are attracted to me. And I
Yeah.
feel like if they saw a picture of me, it wouldn't be anything. But when I sit next to them in the plane and we connect and we start talking, and there's that life inside that's like we're all sort of ageless, and you
Hmm.
get that connection, and then you connect on that level, that timelessness within you, and then the age doesn't really matter. That's one of the reasons why I am not drawn to online dating, because to me you can't tell the person's life force sort of thing, which is what I'm
Yeah.
drawn to.
Yeah. The same for me too. I like to feel that energy. You have a conversation with somebody when they're in your person. It's the same in my office. I'd rather have the person in front of me rather than look at them on Zoom. So I'm because it's that energy, right? It's that exchange. There's that connection that's happening. There's nothing in between. Yeah.
Well, there's life force. That's why I always say I have no problem with doctoring some photos. Like I have apps that fix photos, because when you take a picture and it's a bad photo, like I'm constantly telling you, Eddie, and my sisters, like, you are so beautiful. That picture is not a good picture of you. That's not what you look like. And mostly it's because the life force like isn't coming through in the photo. The
Hmm.
vibrancy that is your life force. And yeah,
That's
video
right.
does pick it up a little bit more, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I think too, what happens to people is they jump too far ahead. Like, so the ladies that I'm working with now that are contemplating dating, getting out there, and they might not be in their 50s yet, but they're divorced and single moms or whatever, and thinking about getting out there dating, they jump too far ahead, and are like, oh my gosh, what if they have kids, or what if they don't like kids, or what if they, all the things, our mind will come up with fears, all kinds of stuff, which is you were talking about earlier. So really diving deep into your own being of your fears, and don't jump too far ahead. When you jump far ahead, you're first of all, it's a totally fictitious story of jumping ahead. It's like you just be open to meeting people and it'll unfold. I mean, I even coach young women on this too, young men and women that are dating in their teens and 20s. It's like they try to figure it all out in the first 5 dates. I'm like, just enjoy dating and getting to know somebody, and it'll be very clear and evident if this is something that's for a month or 2 or a year or 5 years or a lifetime.
And
Just
there's also, yeah, and there's also people, that are nervous about getting back out there. They're really, it's probably the most vulnerable you'll ever be at this, sometimes, not the most, but at this point at midlife. And they always say, well, where am I going to meet somebody now? Like, I like this and this and this and this. And you know what? Oh my gosh, now that I'm with somebody and all the things that I do in my life, I say to people who are single and especially like in their 50s and 60s, I'm like, go play pickleball. I think Ellen, you heard Ellen DeGeneres say it the other day. Holy shit, single people should just go play pickleball. But everybody's not single playing pickleball. But you can actually take up a sport, go do something that's new, that's, take tennis lessons, go swimming, like venture into things that you never thought you'd get into. Play music, join a choir, sing, dance, like find something that, if you're that type of person, right? That those are the things you like. I mean, there's different ways of meeting people,
Mhm.
but it's
Oh yeah, when
first.
it's meant to be, it'll as long as you've cleaned out your demons in your own closet. I mean, that what I always say is like one unhappy person, one depressed, one desperate person, and another desperate, unhappy person doesn't make a happy couple.
That's right.
Oh.
You want to mirror back. Like if you're doing all this work, that's what you want. You don't want to save somebody and be tending on somebody. And you want, a good match to yourself. If you're active, you want someone who's active. If you're into certain things, going to concerts or traveling, you want, if this is where you are in your life, you probably want that. It doesn't have to be 100% matched up, but a
Mhm.
lot of times, you hear people meeting somebody when they least expected it.
That's because they've let it go. It's kind of like when you are coaching people to get pregnant, and they when they finally let go and maybe start the adoption process, all of a sudden they get pregnant.
Yeah, the stress level goes down, and and when we're in a panic about things, cortisol levels go up, and cortisol is aging. We're working on ageless romance here, the dating, and yeah, and change up your wardrobe. Like really clear out your old funky stuff and the sweatpants that we love to live in, and get comfortable, get new sweatpants.
Just don't wear your sweatpants out of the house. You can wear them in the
No.
house. Don't wear them out of the house.
Yes, or your pajamas. Yeah,
Yeah.
like make a little effort. Yeah. Change up your makeup, get a new hairstyle. Like it's you. You're working on you,
For
right?
you first.
For you first, and then you also have to just feel, do I want to be in a relationship, and how's that going to change my life now as it is?
Well, that's the thing for me. There's a couple of things that stop me. So let me talk about
Hmm.
a moment, because I am feeling sort of just some more energy in that direction. Nothing more than that. It's not like it's just an energy in that direction. And my life is pretty awesome. I love my life a lot. And so I can't quite imagine how somebody's going to fit into it right yet. And that means I'm probably not ready yet, as Eddi was saying earlier. So I am thinking about that, like, because I know that the universe can help somebody fit perfectly in my life, or that they'll be, it'll all work out. But there is that, like, after you've been single for a while, and you're kind of set, you've got your routines and stuff. Like I can jump on a plane whenever I want and do whatever I want and go wherever I want. But I see you and you kind of do that. I mean, you do
Yeah.
make plans with Strat, but you
Yeah.
also make plans on your own.
Absolutely. And that's what you want. You want, there was an old beautiful poem you had sent that the oak and the pine, they never smother each other. They grow independently side by side. And that's, I hold that thought in my head. And especially as we get older, we want to have our own lives. It doesn't mean a person is going to stop you living your life. You've got it already and it's got its own momentum. What you're doing is you're just changing some things that really, in a relationship, you're sitting and you're having great conversations with somebody, and there's a lot of mutual respect, and you might be trying new recipes or cooking, and there's going to be sometimes things that you complain about, right? Like, oh my god, the mess of the kitchen, or that he drops this and there's whatever. But you know what? That's just minor stuff. The rest of it is put your skis on. Let's get out the door. The encouragement, that you give each other, the love that you give each other. And, I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I
Yeah.
I know there's somebody, you know, rendezvousing outside your being that when you least expect it, they'll come in.
Yeah.
And they could be from somewhere, living somewhere in a different country, and next thing you know, you're on a plane going there and they're coming to see you. Like, there is no exact for it that you have to be in the same house all the time together.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
talk to people about that all the time. There's different ways that relationships go, and you don't have to be in the same house. You don't even have to be in the same bedroom sometimes if you are in
exactly.
the same house. It's like so many different, or in the same city, same country. Like there are a lot of
Yes.
different ways to do relationships. So,
Absolutely. I mean, we're older going into this, and you got your routine, even the way people sleep. Some people go, I had someone the other day, they were like, "Oh my gosh, we just moved in together and he snores." And I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing about that?" She goes, "Well, I'm trying, but now my sleep's interrupted and now I'm, patterning something that I don't want." And I said, "Well, just sleep in the other room." She goes, "Well, I never thought of that. But the whole point of being together is that you're in the same room, you're sleeping together." I'm like, "But what if that doesn't work? What if you're awake and you want to choke him because he's snoring?" Like, she's like, "Wow." I said, "You're there to sleep. You can do your other activities, your safe sex." You can have your intimate moments. It doesn't mean if you can't sleep, you gotta change it up. So there's no set rule. Some
yeah,
people like to sleep in later than somebody else. Sometimes someone's up and on the go early and gone golfing or playing pickleball or walking.
yeah,
We honor and respect each other, especially when you get out there and you're dating, and it's not like your 20s, 30s where you don't know what to expect, right? And everybody seemed cool, right? And now we're like, "Oh, I don't know."
we're
Yeah.
older and wiser.
Yes, and use that wisdom. Use that wisdom. And a lot of men and women, they pick at themselves. They go, "Oh, I got to get rid of this belly," or, "I got to lose a bit of weight," or, "I got to get in shape," or, well, you don't know, but maybe the person that you're going to meet, they're going to be the ones that really inspire you to get into cycling or tennis or what, hiking even. Who knows?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's, I think it dating after 50, I never dreamed that that would be in my vortex or that we'd have a podcast talking about it, right? So anything's possible. And
Yeah.
even if people are married, even if they're feeling it's a bit, oh, it's uncomfortable. Oh, what flew at you? A bug?
A huge stink bug.
Oh, yeah, I see it right there. It's flying around your head. That's not what I meant was flying around you. What's your name?
No,
So even when people are married, they should have date nights. They should make a point of keeping it fresh, right? Because a lot of times people just take each other for granted, and yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think, and another conversation that happens is like, I've noticed, doesn't matter how old somebody is, whether they're 16 or 25 or 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, when you break up with somebody, you think you will never find another love like that. If you're brokenhearted or whatever, you never feel like you'll be lovable again or fall in love like that again. It's human nature to think that way. And it's just know that that's a passing thought. It's not true. And we are here, like all the beings on the planet, are all, in couple form of some kind. Like we are creatures of community, and love is one of the greatest things that there is. I love
mhm.
how Eat, Pray, Love started. Do you remember her? She was like on the floor crying. Do you remember that? And then she goes back to it while she's on the floor crying. She does a flashback of a study that she read, that people that were coming across the ocean from Cuba or whatever, and they had these harrowing times, or people that have been in traumatic situations, is that they didn't want so much to talk about being afraid of dying. They wanted to talk about who was with who and who was falling in love with who and who was cheating on who and it was all about the love and the relationships, more so than any of the trauma that they had been through.
Mhm. Yes.
So love is something that's really important to us now, but at the same time, embracing being single is amazing too. Like that's something I've actually always done, because I've had long periods of being single in my life, and I've always embraced it and loved it and enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Like there was like when I was younger, I was lonely and stuff, but I also have embraced being single, because I know that there are positive and negatives about both. So I just want to embrace and be in it wherever I'm
Yes.
at. Right.
Yes. Yes. And also, being alone doesn't mean being lonely.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
lot of people think I'm alone, and then other people, oh, you live by yourself. Oh are you lonely? Well, my gosh, no. Like when I was alone, oh my goodness, I did so much and I really enjoyed it. And I knew I just felt it within myself. It was only going to be a matter of time before I would meet somebody, because I do like a relationship, I do. And some people are fine on their own. I remember when my dad passed, mom was only mom was only 63. Like I'm only a few years younger than that. And she's 88 now. She never remarried.
And
Dad was 70.
dated.
She never remarried, and she's just like, no, no, I'm good. And she's always loved being, yeah,
The opposite of my
single.
mom.
Hmm. And your mom's like, whoa.
Always had a man in her life, and she attracts
Yes.
them like flies.
Yeah. I remember one time we were in Florida, and there was a friend of ours who was about our age, and she goes, are you girls interested in him? We're like, no, he's our friend. She goes, okay.
She's like, I just want to make sure, because I
And
think
she
there's
was
something
just
going on.
flirting. She was so cute. And that's so beautiful. Like I look at your mom, and she always had that goddess energy about her, you know?
Yeah.
She did. She had that goddess energy, and my mother had the goddess energy in a different way. She'd rather you come to her house and she'd make you a cup of tea and make you buns or fish cakes, or she'd
Knit
rather the
you
conversation.
a little washcloth.
Yeah, she'd knit you little cloths. So, yeah, everybody's different. I have a lot of single friends right now, and they were like, well, someone may come in or may not, but I might date a little bit, and it's beautiful. It's up to the individual how they want to, do their life. It's your life. You get to design it and do it the way you want. And it's not like you're going to miss out on anything. It's not like you're missing something. This is it, right?
And just to notice when, you know, embrace wherever you're at,
Mhm.
know what it is you want, and make sure that your wants are matching, like there's congruency. is if you want a relationship, are you willing to put yourself out there? Are you willing to, make changes and compromise and step into new things, and just have that sort of inquiry within your own being, to make
Yes.
sure you're ready and that's what you want. And yeah.
Yes, and making sure that you've really given yourself the time to really get to know yourself and then to know what you want. Like a lot of people might feel they're ready and they go right into another relationship, And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either, if that's what works for somebody. But a lot of times it's really, kind of living with yourself for a little bit, just to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
So ageless romance.
So when I meet somebody, we'll have to do another podcast about a new relationship in your over 50.
That's right. And what changed and how did you move with that and how did
Yeah.
that go? And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Embrace
Yeah.
all of it, right? Every step of the way, as Eddi said, it's your life. It's happening right now.
They're
And
your choices, right? They're your choices. And the big step is, the whole podcast today is about, dating after 50, right? As we're older. And that vulnerability, just really even look deep within yourself on that fact is what is it? Who are you asking friends, and family, should you or shouldn't you? Go with what you feel,
yeah,
get yourself into the best version of yourself and then match it.
yeah, yeah. I like it.
Corinne, there's a lot of really beautiful people out there. I mean, I dated a lot of really sweet people. Now, there was a few arseholes in there too.
There's a few bad apples, but there's a lot of great people in the world too.
We're not naming names. It's mostly good people, wonderful people. There's a lot of great people out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to use your spidey senses and your intuition.
Yes, you do.
And what's your prediction for me?
Oh, I can see now you when you say you'll be dating in your 60s. No, Corinne's got it. It's all lined up, ready to go. I get this phone call. I just met the most wonderful man, blah, blah, blah. Just one date. That's it.
I have a feeling that's how it's going to happen too. It's usually my thing is because when I click with somebody, it's like a chung chung into place.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there's not a lot of dating. I mean, there's a lot of flirting. I
Yeah.
like flirt, but the actual when I meet somebody that I know is, then
Well,
yeah,
you know what? I think it's this way. At this point in our life, we know what we're good with. We know it's like if you go to eat food, I'm not eating food that I don't like the taste of, right? I'll spit it out.
you do spit it out.
So we know, and it's also time. Nobody wants to waste time. Isn't
Yeah,
that true?
yeah.
My time's precious. Yours is precious. It's got to be substance there.
Oh yeah, my bar is way high now.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's because we are doing lots of work on yourself. I'm doing lots of work on myself, and we do have our bar raised, and that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Good. So I think that's a wrap.
It is. That went by really quick.
Yes. Well, it does when sometimes we're on a roll. Well, I don't know. We ever not on a roll, Eddie?
No, oh my gosh, we'll never run out of stuff to talk about. But anyone listening, like send us some questions or send us some ideas or something that you want us to talk about. And no matter what, sensitive subjects, like whatever, we'll research it and do our best to come back with.
Yeah. And make sure you share it with somebody that you think might need this episode, because that helps us to continue on what we're doing. And I always have links below of how to connect with Eddi and I. If you're in another country, Eddi, I was checking out our analytics, and there's people like in Finland and Japan, that are watching or listening.
Wow. And
Yeah.
Norway.
Norway.
I
Mhm.
just spoke to someone in Norway. She's tuning in. So
So great. I love it. So yeah, so you can connect with us on our website, send our emails there. It's all our contact info is on, underneath the more section on YouTube or the podcast. And was listening to our podcast today, and we haven't ended this in a while. So remember how we used to end it saying, until we meet again,
be kind. Just be. We have to practice that a little bit more now.
be happy, be well, be kind,
Be free.